Let's go to the U.S. now, where the House of Representatives will be voting in the coming days for Kevin McCarthy's replacement. That's going to happen next week. He has become the first Speaker in the history of the House to be voted out of the position following a motion launched by members of his own party. Let's talk about the ramifications in the days ahead with Voice of America correspondent Carol Van Dam Falk. Carol, a very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. So how is all of this washing down in the United States, in Washington, when you consider that the Speaker left, basically, he fell at the sword of his own party?
Hi, Tim Baghetti. Yes, it is a difficult situation, to say the least. So right now we're in a situation where the House is in recess. They likely won't come back until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And then they're going to have to coalesce, the Republicans, that is, and try to come up with a new speaker. And it won't be easy because they have to still deal with the same problems that they were dealing with when they ousted McCarthy this week. So they're going to have to try to find somebody who will get along with the vast majority of Republicans that still backed McCarthy and these 8 Republicans who voted to expel him. And they have to work quickly because there is a less than 6-week deadline now to come up with these, massive spending bills and get them approved not only in the House, but in the Senate, too, and then rectify the 2 different versions for one bill to be signed by the president.
And McCarthy basically had to face a revolt by his fellow Republicans because just in the last few days he voted along with Democrats to basically give an extension that would allow or prevent at least a shutdown of the U.S. government. Now they're about 40 days or so before we're back at that point, as you've just alluded. Explain for our domestic audience how this works and why it is such a serious problem if in the next 40 days or so there isn't a resolution and the Speaker, most importantly, who's able to lead the Republicans in particular in the same direction.
Yes, this is going to be not an easy task because they also have to bring on board the Democrats. And a lot of the Republicans, the more far-right Republicans, were demanding huge spending cuts. And there's only so much that the Congress can cut. It's called discretionary spending. The biggest problems weren't even addressed, which is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Those programs weren't touched, and those are the ones that take the biggest amount of money out of the budget. So they're going to have to deal with those issues, and that's what's holding up this whole plan. Is how are they going to rectify these vast differences that they have between the Democrats and the Republicans and the radical Republicans over how much spending there's going to be, including on foreign aid spending, like spending for the Ukraine war.
Mm-hmm. And there's already concern, Carol, isn't there, in the United States, the likes of the former Vice President Mike Pence reacting to the developments in the House recently said that there should be concern about how this apparent instability will reflect on the United States, especially abroad.
That is true. This is not helping this is not helping the U.S. government's stature abroad. And a lot of, governments are worried about what's going to happen in the future. And if the U.S. government itself is on shaky ground when the Republicans can't agree among themselves how to move forward when they have control. They don't have a huge numbers in control, but they have the majority, and they have to learn how to govern their own party in order to move forward and get the business of the U.S. Congress done.
And is there any sign, any indication at this stage that the people who may be interested in replacing McCarthy would be able to bring that reputation back, or be able at least to help steer the House in a more sober direction?
So far, there's been 2 names floated around. Both of these Republicans are men and conservative Republicans, so it's not a clear path forward at all about how they would proceed. It was hard for McCarthy. It's going to be hard for the next speaker, whoever it is.
Carol Van Dam Falk, good to speak to you about developments in the United States there, where the House Speaker was ousted basically by his own Republican Party, a motion brought by the Republicans and then supported by the Democrats this week.